Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan and welcome to this special ITV broadcast. I'm Yusuf Mali and I'm humbled and honored to you, our noble viewers. For this blessed month of Ramadan, I welcome you. Ahlan wa sahlan. It is Ramadan Kareem to you and all your loved ones, inshallah. Ameen. Today was the 15th of May, Naqba Day. But we're going to find out more about that in this interview this evening because we're busy with Quds Foundation. Quds Foundation needs your help this evening. Inshallah, that will be after Taraweeh Salah. But with me, I have none other than a former president of the MJC and the current leader of Quds Foundation. That's Maulana Ihsan Hendricks. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Maulana, and how are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, Brother Yusuf, and to all the viewers of ITV, fellow South Africans, good evening, and we extend our warm greetings to the Muslim community and the South African community who join us on this blessed occasion of the month of Ramadan. We pray to the Almighty Allah that this month will be filled with lots of blessings, lots of prosperity, not exclusively for us as the Muslim community, but also for us as a country and as South Africans, God willing, inshallah.
Ameen, 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 inshallah. Maulana, when we talk about Quds Foundation, you are talking about a foundation and an organization that's in the front run in support and defense of Masjid al-Aqsa. And as we know, on an hourly basis, we hear there are orphans in Palestine. Can you tell us more about what is Quds Foundation, what is your mandate, and what's your current projects you're running on?
Yeah, the Quds Foundation is an international establishment that was established almost close to 20 years ago. But the South African chapter is now in its 12th year by the grace of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in 2005, we launched the Quds Foundation for South Africa and officially opened the office in 2006, coinciding with a very important day on the calendar of the Palestinian history, and that is the day of the occupation of the city of Al-Quds in June 1967. We have established the office here in Cape Town. We branched off to Gauteng, and alhamdulillah, by the grace of the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quds Foundation has established its national footprint in South Africa as well as internationally with all the activities that we have administered over the last 12 years. Primarily to the Quds Foundation, of course, is the protection of Al-Quds, the protection of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, but more so, we want to articulate it very clearly to our community. It's not the defense of the brick and the mortar, but rather the people who live in the city of Al-Quds, the people who have to stand on a day-to-day basis and resist the evil of occupation, and in this particular instance, Zionist occupation. And so a variety of activities over the 12 years.
Now, Maulana, as you just mentioned, the occupation, and we're talking about dispossession, and that is what Naqba Day was all about. Elaborate for a little bit more about Naqba Day, especially for Palestinians and for humanity at large.
I think today in South Africa, as we have witnessed the masses of people who came out on the streets of Cape Town for the demonstration in solidarity with the Palestinian community, And this year, very significant, we are beginning to witness 70 years of the Nakba, the catastrophe of the Palestinian people, if we calculate back to 1948. So 1948 till 2018, of course, we are sitting with 70 years. 70 years of pain, 70 years of dispossession, 70 years of having displaced a community, 70 years where half of the population live in the diaspora, 70 years where almost 80% of Palestinian society have been reduced to widows and to orphans. And this is the plight of the Palestinian people over the last 70 years. And so the Nakba must be seen as to be the occasion that Palestinians have no other aspiration except to return back to the country of domicile, the land of birth. And that is why this initiative, the Great Return March, that the South African community decided to be in solidarity with the Palestinian community today, is a Nakba in a different light that we see it, and we are beginning to witness the resilience of the Palestinian people that carries this very positive meaning, translated in their expression, Haqqul Awda or Wajibul Awda, the right to return, or rather the obligation to return.
Ameen, Ameen. We make dua, inshallah. As we know, our hearts were crying and we were weeping today as we were standing with solidarity in this Nakba Day, which is a commiseration of what has happened, the dispossession and displacement of the Palestinians. And now that in particular what we're focusing on this evening is the orphans. And now we're looking at 70 years of orphans that has led, that needs our help, that needs assistance. And inshallah tonight after Taraweeh Salah we will busy with the pledge line and we focus on that. But now Maulana, can you tell us more about the orphan? When we talk about those orphans from Palestine, can you give us some sentiment and spiritual connection, because at the moment our hearts are very strong at the moment for Palestine?
I think that our community, and particularly the South African Muslim community, have proven over the years to be very well informed and educated and extremely generous to the conditions of the orphan children, whether it be inside South Africa or outside South Africa. However, tonight I wish to contextualize the very special eye that we need to place on the orphan in Palestine. In fact, Brother Yusuf and viewers of ITV, it is not an exaggeration to tell the community tonight that in the occupied territories of Palestine, under the yoke of Zionist occupation, it is not an exaggeration if we tell the community tonight that on an hourly basis, Palestinian children are being orphaned. You show me another piece of land, another piece of geographical space on the face of earth where children are being orphaned on an hourly basis like in Palestine. The aspiration that the Palestinian people have for freedom, for liberation, is equally translated into the right for their children who wish to enjoy a normal life with a father and a mother. Remember a few years ago when the young Palestinian boy Muhammad Durra accompanied his father Abdurrahman Ad-Durra. He accompanied his father that particular day to buy for him a toy. The aspiration of the child is to have a toy. And you know and I know in our childhood times how we would relate to that type of exercise, going with your father to buy a toy. But what has proven that day to be supposedly a day of joy and happiness turned out to be a day of misery. The whole world has seen the brutality of Zionist occupation and how the brutality of that killing in the face of the world, in the face of the international community, Muhammad Durra was killed in the hands of his father. Now, so many Palestinian children find themselves in this particular position. So what about those children who barely comes from school and come to receive the news that their fathers have been killed, their mothers have been killed? And so therefore, we see the increase of the orphan children in Palestine on a day-to-day basis. And if we take the demographics of Palestine into consideration, then we are not exclusively referring to the orphans of Al-Quds, even though we would want to concentrate very primarily on that, because this is where our work as the Quds Foundation focus. But you also have Palestinian orphans who live in the diaspora, who live in the many refugee camps of Sabra and Shatila. And the Quds Foundation has done work in these particular refugee camps over a number of years. We have seen the Palestinian orphan children and the greater orphan chapter unfolding, particularly today in Syria and in so many other places. And therefore, one cannot deny that the circumstances that continues to prevail under Zionist occupation has catapulted the Palestinian community into a community of orphan children. We have a duty, we have a responsibility towards such people.
Allahu Akbar. So too, Maulana, when we talk about Palestinians, we're talking about the prodigy of our Anbiya. We're talking the prodigy and the lineage of that of our prophets. And when we look at the disposition and we look at that mantle that we hold ourselves up to by copying and emulating our Anbiya, and we look what is happening to the lineage, how can we but sit still and do nothing? It's at least our duty tonight to go on this pledge line and sponsor a child, sponsor an orphan, and try and make a difference for Palestine, inshallah. Ameen. So, inshallah, Maulana, we will be back after this. We have a short break and be back just after that, inshallah.